How do you really know if a man is genuinely interested in you, your mind, your heart, your soul, or if he just wants to sleep with you? Because here's the thing, ladies, men are clever. They don't come out and say, hey, I just want your body tonight. No, they wrap it up in charm, in smiles, in little compliments that make you melt for a second. And if you're not paying attention, you'll mistake desire for devotion. But I'm going to let you in on a secret most men will never tell you. If a man's true goal is only sex, he will always ask you about two very specific things. He can't help it. It's instinctive. It's almost like a script written in his DNA. And when you know what those two things are, you'll be able to spot his real intentions in minutes. You'll never have to sit by your phone wondering, does he really like me? Or is he just looking for a one-night story he'll forget in the morning? Now, let's be clear. Attraction isn't the enemy here. In fact, attraction is the spark that makes dating exciting. That rush when he looks at you a certain way, when he leans in close and you can feel the electricity, that's the good stuff. But if all he ever wanted was to light a spark and walk away, then you end up burning alone. And that's not sexy, that's exhausting. The difference between a man who desires you and a man who values you comes down to what he asks you. And once you hear these two questions, you'll realize how many times you've already been tested without even noticing it. So picture this, next time you're talking to a guy, whether it's in person, over text, or on a date, you'll know within 5 minutes if he's showing up for you, or if he's just rehearsing the same old routine he's used on a dozen women before you. Because the truth is, a man who only wants sex isn't nearly as mysterious as he thinks. He's predictable. And ladies, once you learn the pattern, you'll never fall for it again. Let's break down the very first giveaway. When a man's only goal is to sleep with you, his favorite question sounds something like this. So what are you doing tonight? Or maybe, are you free later? Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound suspicious, right? I mean, what's wrong with someone asking about your evening plans? Nothing. But here's where you need to listen deeper. Because when a man is truly interested in you, he's not thinking in hours, he's thinking in days, weeks, even months. He's planning ahead, he's making time for you in his future. But the man who only wants your body, he's thinking in the moment. He doesn't want to schedule something 3 days from now because that would require actual effort. That would mean he's investing in you as a person. Instead, he wants the quickest route to intimacy, and that usually comes in the form of last-minute plans. Think about it, when a guy texts you at 10:30 p.m. with, hey, you up, or want to come over and watch a movie, you know what kind of movie he's talking about, right? Spoiler alert, it's not Disney. Here's a story that will sound familiar to many of you. One of my clients told me about a man she was seeing who never made real plans with her. During the day, silent. During the week, nowhere to be found. But Friday night, 11 p.m., suddenly he was Shakespeare, texting her like she was the Juliet to his Romeo. That wasn't romance, that was convenience. No. Now contrast that with another guy she dated later. He said, hey, I'd love to take you to that new sushi spot on Saturday. Are you free? Notice the difference. One man is thinking, what's the fastest way to get her into my bed? The other is thinking, how do I spend meaningful time with her? Ladies, here's your rule of thumb. A man who is serious about you will respect your time. He'll give you notice. He'll actually plan. If he only ever calls or texts you late at night, last minute, or only when he's bored, you are not a priority. You're a backup plan. And let me tell you something important. You deserve to be the main event, not the after party. So the next time a guy asks, what are you doing tonight? Pay attention to what comes next. If it's always nighttime, always casual, always last minute, it's not because he's busy, it's because he's not investing. And if you keep saying yes to those scraps of attention, you're teaching him that he doesn't need to give you anything more. But when you hold your standard, when you say, I'd love to see you, but let's plan something for later this week, you instantly separate the men who just want sex from the men who want you. The first guy will disappear because he doesn't want to put in effort. The second guy, he'll rise to the occasion because effort doesn't scare a man who's truly interested. So here's the sexy truth. When you start demanding more than last-minute attention, you don't just filter out the wrong men, you attract the right ones. The ones who see your value, the ones who plan ahead, the ones who know that you're worth waiting for. Here's another question men ask when their real interest is only physically. So do you live alone? Now, At first glance, this might sound like innocent curiosity, right? Maybe he just wants to know more about your life, your home, your setup. But I want you to notice something very carefully when this question comes too early, when it comes before he's ever shown a genuine interest in your passions, your family, your goals. What he's really asking is, how easy will it be for me to get you alone? Think about it. A man who truly wants to get to know you will ask about your career, your hobbies, your favorite restaurants, the places you love to travel. He'll be fascinated by you. But the man who's only focused on sex, he doesn't care if you have 3 dogs, 5 plants, or a roommate who plays the guitar too loud. He just wants to know, is your space accessible to me? I'll give you a real example. A woman I coach went on a first date with a guy she met online over drinks. He barely asked about her job, her passions, or even where she grew up. But by the second glass of wine, he leaned in and said, "So, do you live by yourself?" She laughed it off, but she told me later, that was the moment I realized he wasn't planning future dates, he was mapping out logistics. Ladies, here's the key: context matters. If you've been dating a man for weeks and he asks because he's considering how your lives might blend, that's normal. But if he asks on date 1 or 2, that's not about partnership, that's about access. And let's be honest, sometimes the way he asks gives it away. He doesn't say it with polite curiosity. He says it with a grin, with raised eyebrows, with that playful tone you already recognize. It's less about knowing your life and more about testing the waters. Here's what I want you to remember: a man who values you doesn't rush to your front door. He's more interested in being invited into your world, your thoughts, your emotions, your story, before being invited into your apartment. So what do you do when you hear that question too soon? You flip it. Instead of answering directly, say something playful like, "Why? Are you planning on moving in already?" Or, "That's an interesting question. Why do you want to know?" His reaction will tell you everything. If he laughs nervously and changes the subject, you've just caught him red-handed. If he's genuine, he'll explain himself without hesitation. The truth is, women often give away more than they realize. The moment you tell a man, "Yes, I live alone," he knows the path is clear. If that's what you want, great. But if you're searching for something real, be mindful. Because once you hand him that information, he may skip all the stages of building connection and jump straight to testing boundaries. Here's the golden rule: when a man's questions are more about your space than your soul, you already know what he's after. So guard your space, both physically and emotionally. Don't let convenience become the test of your worth. The right man won't care if you live alone with 3 roommates or in a castle guarded by dragons. He'll care about the person inside, not the access to the address. Now let's talk about one of the biggest giveaways of all silence around the deepest stuff. See, when a man only wants sex, his questions will always stay on the surface. He'll ask what your favorite drink is, what Netflix show you're watching, what you're doing later. But what he won't ask is about your heart. Why? Because going deep means going involved. It means investing time and energy to actually get to know you. And that's not his goal. His goal is speed, not depth. Here's the difference: the man who genuinely likes you will naturally get curious. He'll ask, what's something you've always wanted to do but never tried? Or what was your childhood like? Or where do you see yourself a year from now? He'll ask about your friends, your passions, your struggles, because he's trying to connect with the real you. But the man who only wants your body, he doesn't want to know your past, your future, or even your present in any real sense. He's avoiding anything that requires emotional connection, because emotional connection creates expectations, and expectations are the last thing he wants. I'll give you an example. One of my clients went on 3 dates with a guy she thought was incredible. She told me, "I was so fun, so charming, but after 3 nights out, I realized I didn't know a single meaningful thing about him, and he didn't know a single thing about me either. All their conversations were light movies, music, funny memes, silly jokes, fun, yes, but empty." And when she finally asked him, "What's your relationship with your family like?" he froze. He changed the subject back to the cocktail menu. That was her wake-up call. Ladies, here's the truth: men who only want sex are allergic to emotional depth. They'll keep it playful, flirty, surface level, because that keeps things safe for them. And here's the trap: you might confuse that lighthearted energy with chemistry. You think, "We just click, it's so easy with him, we laugh all the time," but ease isn't always intimacy. Sometimes it's just avoidance dressed up as fun. Now, how do you test this? Simple. Drop a deeper question into the conversation and watch how he reacts. For example, ask, what's something you're passionate about right now? If he lights up and shares, green flag. If he dodges, shrugs, or makes a joke to move on, red flag. Because here's the sexy truth the right man wants to know you. He wants the details, the stories, the emotions, because he's building a connection that lasts beyond the bedroom. The wrong man, he just wants to keep things shallow enough that tomorrow he can walk away without strings attached. So remember this: if his curiosity doesn't go beyond what you're drinking, what you're wearing, or what you're doing tonight, he's not chasing your soul, he's chasing your body. And you, my love, deserve a man who's fascinated by all of you, the way your mind works, the way your heart loves, the way your eyes light up when you talk about your dreams. That's the man who sees you as a treasure, not a transaction. Here's one of the most obvious signs a man is only after sex he'll try to test your boundaries way too early. Now, I want you to pay attention here, because this one sneaks up on you. It doesn't always look like some guy grabbing you in a club or trying to kiss you out of nowhere. No, it's often more subtle. It's the innocent touches that happen before you're ready. The hand that lingers a little too long on your lower back. The way he suddenly moves closer when you're talking, invading your personal space. Or that line he throws in, "Sir, do you like to cuddle?" before he even knows your middle name. What he's doing is running a test. He's seeing how quickly he can escalate things. He wants to know, can I cross her boundary without her pushing back? And then ladies, here's the truth. The man who respects you isn't afraid of boundaries. In fact, he'll love that you have them. But the man who's only in it for sex, he wants to skip all the anticipation, the connection, the romance. Why? Because those things take time, and time is not what he's after. Let me tell you a quick story. One of my clients went on a first date with a guy she met through friends. They had dinner, laughed, had amazing chemistry. Then, halfway through, he started with little comments like, "We should go somewhere more private after this, and I bet you'd look even better without the dress on." She laughed it off, but deep down she felt uncomfortable. And here's what happened: instead of slowing down, he doubled down. By the end of the night, he was trying to pull her straight into his car. That wasn't romance, that was a man pushing to see how quickly he could win. And you know what she told me later? It wasn't the words that bothered me the most, it was how rushed it all felt. Like he wasn't even interested in me, just in skipping to the end. That's the exact feeling I want you to recognize: rushed. If you ever feel like a man is speeding things forward, physically, emotionally, or sexually, without giving you the time to build comfort, it's not because he's so attracted to you. It's because he's not interested in the slow burn. He's only interested in the payoff. Now, here's how a man with genuine interest behaves differently. He'll let you set the pace. He'll flirt, yes, but he'll also read your signals. If you lean back, he gives you space. If you're not ready for touch, he won't push it. Instead of making you feel cornered, he'll make you feel safe, like you have control. That's the man who wants more than sex. So how do you respond when a guy tests your boundaries too soon? You make your standard clear without apology. You can smile and say, "I move at my own pace." Or you'll have to earn that. This does two things. First, it filters out the men who were never serious about you to begin with. They'll disappear, and that's good. Second, it raises your value in the eyes of the right men, because a man who respects women will respect your boundaries. And when he sees you're not easy to rush, he'll lean in harder, not to push, but to prove he's worthy of your time. Here's the sexy part: boundaries are not walls. They're doors, and the right man will be excited to find the right key. The wrong man, he'll bang on the door once, then walk away when it doesn't open immediately. So remember this: a man who tests your boundaries early is showing you that he's not looking for love, he's looking for shortcuts. And you, my love, deserve a man who doesn't just want to arrive quickly, but one who wants to stay. No, ladies, this is the final and one of the most important red flags to watch for: a man who makes you feel rushed. You know the type. He texts you constantly, but only late at night. He calls, but the conversations always seem to have an agenda. He hints, teases, or outright says things like, "Come over, I don't have much time," or "Hurry, I want to see you tonight." At first, it can feel flattering, even exciting, the thrill of urgency, the rush of adrenaline. But here's the truth: that rush is a test. It's a way of seeing how easily he can push you into doing what he wants without you taking the time to think, feel, or decide. A man who truly values you will never make you feel cornered or pressured. He knows that attraction and intimacy aren't about speed, they're about connection. And connection, ladies, is patient. Let me give you an example. One of my clients told me about a man she'd been talking to online. On their first few dates, he was charming, witty, and fun, but there was always a push. He'd say things like, "I can't wait to be alone with you," or "Tonight is the only night I'm free, so you should come." She felt flattered at first, but then she realized that she was the one adjusting her schedule, changing plans, even skipping workouts just to meet his timetable. And here's the kicker. She never once felt like he was considering her comfort or desires. It was all about his timeline. Now contrast this with a man who is genuinely interested. He might say, "I'd love to see you. What's a good day for you this week?" He gives you the space to choose, the freedom to decide. He's patient because he knows that if you're worth it, the right time will be worth waiting for. Ladies, feeling rushed is subtle, but it's powerful. It makes you second guess yourself. Am I being difficult? Or am I making him wait too long? That's exactly what he wants. It's a form of emotional pressure. A man who only wants sex thrives on that discomfort because it pushes you closer to giving him what he wants without building trust or connection. Here's your power move. Whenever you feel rushed, slow it down. Smile and say, "I'd love to see you, but let's make it at a time that works for me." Watch how he reacts. The wrong man will try to push, argue, or guilt trip you. The right man, he'll respect your decision, adjust his plans, and even appreciate your boundaries. Remember this, urgency doesn't equal desire, chemistry doesn't equal commitment, and rushing someone, especially in intimacy, is a huge red flag. So here's the takeaway. Never let a man's timeline override your comfort. Your body, your heart, your time, they are all yours. The right man will move at a pace that excites and respects you, making every moment feel earned, cherished, and delicious. Because ladies, the sexiest thing you can ever do isn't move fast. It's move with confidence, with choice, and with absolute clarity about your worth. And the right man will be thrilled to wait for that. Ladies, let's be real. Attraction is fun, chemistry is thrilling, but attention without intention is dangerous. A man who asks about your availability at night, probes your living situation, avoids deeper questions, tests your boundaries, or constantly rushes you, he's showing you exactly what he wants, a shortcut to intimacy, not a real connection. But here's the empowering truth. You now know the signs. You can spot them in seconds. You can protect your heart, your time, and your energy. And when you do, you raise your standard and your value. A woman who knows what she deserves isn't just attractive, she's untouchable to the wrong men. The right man exists. The one who wants to know your mind, your heart, your story. The one who respects your boundaries, moves at your pace, and invests in you fully. And once you learn to spot the wrong ones, the right ones become impossible to miss. So here's what I want you to do. Notice the signs, set your boundaries, and never settle for less than you deserve. Comment below with one red flag you've seen before but ignored. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. And of course, hit subscribe and the bell so you never miss tips that help you protect your heart, spot the truth, and attract the man who truly values you. Remember, ladies, confidence is sexy, boundaries are irresistible, and the right man will always wait for the woman who knows her worth,